sorry. I'm not really sure how to start this aside from the fact that I'm just glad we have a Spider-Man cartoon again, man. It's been a while. I think the last one we had was that terrible dumpster fire Marvel Spider-Man from 2017, that piece of garbage. But now we finally have another one. And this one technically counts as an Elseworld story because it's both kind of in the MCU, but also adjacent to it because it changes a few things. Now, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect going into this one, aside from, well, it's Spider-Man. It's a different take on Spider-Man that's kind of MCU and kind of not, so I wasn't entirely sure what to think. But me being the huge webhead that I am, Spider-Man's been my favorite superhero since I was a kid. It's been definitely quite intriguing, to say the least, to see that we finally have another Spider-Man show again. And not just a Spider-Man show, but a great one. Yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think this show's fantastic and you need to check it out immediately. Yes, it's no spectacular Spider-Man. No, it's not Spider-Man the Animated Series. No, but it's still amazing in its own right. And after that piece of absolute lazy garbage from 2017, we needed this. This was a good palate cleanser. So, I have a pretty long written review for this one, and I promise you I will keep spoilers to a minimum. I will talk about things that are mainly just from the trailer, and nothing more. So, I won't talk about the ending, I won't talk about specific plot points, I'll just talk about what I can. So, don't worry, this is going to be a spoiler-free review. I may or may not talk about a few little things, but most of it I talk about is from the trailer, so don't hate me for that. So, without further ado, here's my long, detailed, very extended written review for Season 1 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I hope you enjoy. I don't care how much hate I may possibly get for this, but I'm happy to say it finally happened. After almost a decade of that boring 2017 disaster, we finally have another good Spider-Man cartoon again. Dare I say amazing, even. Now, I won't lie to you, I did have doubts with this one, with all the changes to the characters and how different the animation looked, especially compared to the Spider-Verse films. Not to say it looked bad, per se, like most people are saying. Like, people are saying, like, oh, the animation of this show is bad. No, it's not. It's just a very different style that you need to get used to. But the 3D CGI and the very bright colors were definitely a little off-putting, at first. However, being the huge webhead that I am, I still had hope because outside of that crappy 2017 show, Disney's actually done pretty well with Spidey. It's the one place that they don't screw up. Whether it's the great movie trilogy from John Watts, or Ultimate Spider-Man being pretty decent all these years later, me being one of the only people that actually likes that show. And no, I will not apologize for it. He was the one bright spot among Disney's numerous flops with Marvel's recent projects. Like, they kept flopping and failing with a bunch of things, but aside from that 2017 thing, they've done pretty good with Spider-Man. So today, now that I finally had some time off from other projects, I checked out all 10 episodes of this latest offering for Spidey from Disney, and I actually had a blast. Sure, it's not TAS or spectacular, but it gets admirably close. Pros, outstanding soundtrack. I gotta talk about that right off the bat. The soundtrack in this show is amazing in its own right. Especially the theme song, which is one of the best in years. It remixes the old 60s Spider-Man theme into a Danny Phantom-esque song, where, it is rap-focused, but it does it in a way where it actually works and it's not cringe. So, yeah, and if you're wondering what the song's called, it's called Neighbor Like Me by the Math Club. Yes, it will be on the best rap songs list, because I haven't been able to stop listening to it for a week now. It is such a damn good song. You need to check it out if you haven't already. Spectacular voice acting from the entire cast, including Hudson Thames as the titular webhead. Yes, he's emulating Tom Holland, and yes, he's reprising the role from Marvel's What If. but he still puts his own spin on it, and his performance here is way better than it was in that show. And Eugene Boyd as Lonnie Lincoln, who really makes the character come to life, as well as some established legends as well, including Robin Atkins Downes as Doctor Strange, Charlie Cox reprising Daredevil before Daredevil Born Again, and especially Sonic himself, Roger Craig Smith, in multiple roles at once. He plays at least 8 characters in this show. Why? I don't know, but it's kind of funny because as I was watching through and listening to each of the character, I'm like, oh my goodness, Roger voices almost everybody. It's pretty funny. It is pretty freaking funny. Excellent storytelling that both differentiates and parallels the MCU in a really fascinating way. Awesome characters that, while drastically different from the established templates, are all likable. Especially Peter himself, with one of the most refreshingly unique origins I've seen in a while. People want to call the origin story of this show a glorified toy commercial, and maybe it kind of is, but personally I think it works, and it's way different than all the other origin stories of Spider-Man that we've seen before. And I think it's actually in a pretty unique and interesting way. Very good animation, that while jarring at first, replicates the comic art really well. It has that 60s vibe, which I do really like. I think it does that really well. And it gives the series a very distinct style that stands out from the previous shows. Like, this looks nothing like Spectacular, this looks nothing like Ultimate, and it looks nothing like TAS. This is something entirely different and new, and you can easily differentiate it from its peers. So, definitely huge props for that. Like, it may take a little bit of getting used to, but the animation in this show is really good. Fantastic action that delivers some great fight choreography, especially the battle against Daredevil, which is a massive highlight nobody should miss. No, it's not a spoiler, it was in the trailer. At least to my recollection. Great writing that feels authentic to the character and simultaneously fleshing out the supporting cast around him, especially Lonnie, who had probably my favorite writing of the series so far with his character arc, and how he starts becoming Tombstone, which, yes, as big of a Spider-Man fan as I am, I didn't realize Lonnie was actually from the comics. I thought it was an original creation character. But no, I was wrong. Apparently he is from the comics, and one a lot of people were very excited about. And after watching the show, I do want to go read those comics now and find out more about his character and his transformation into Tombstone. Because already in the show, I really liked him. He was my second favorite character in the entire series. I really liked him. And this show definitely deserves props for actually fleshing out side characters rather than just focusing on Peter, which is so nice to see, because way too often we see shows like this that will put all the focus on the main character and maybe give like 1 or 2 episodes, if that, to the side characters. Whereas this show, it actually gives both Peter and his supporting cast development all throughout the show in every single episode. And it is very, very impressive how it's able to balance all that. So, huge props for that. Some really cool Easter eggs to Spidey's history. You have title cards recreating iconic panels. You have a surprise Spider-Man veteran appearing towards the end of the series. You have Spidey's many suit changes, which it's not a spoiler because apparently it was also marketing material, including the Future Foundation suit, the Wasp suit, the Dusk suit. Like, you have a couple different suits from Spidey's history, and they're all really cool. And most of them are used for visual gags, and pretty good visual gags at that. Like, this show can be really funny, and we'll talk about that in a minute. X-Men 97-esque cameos from other Marvel heroes like Strange and Captain America that flesh out the world without being intrusive. Parallels to the MCU, etc., etc. A surprisingly great, ballsy, darker tone shift in the final few episodes, including a really brutal defeat and actual on-screen blood. It is so nice to see that. Like, this show is an adult-oriented, but it is nice to see it actually have the balls to go that direction. Phenomenal, ultimate antagonist that was genuinely threatening. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but it's a spectacular villain that also gives closure to some post-credit scenes from the MCU Spidey films. I'm going to leave it at that. Superb runtime of 22 minutes per episode, totaling to a substantial 3 to 4 hour binge because it is 10 episodes. High rewatchability. I can see myself rewatching this along with Spectacular and TAS any day of the week. And delivering a very satisfying finale that both wraps up the overarching story of the season, while also leaving the door open for much more stories in the following 2 seasons. Yes, this has already been greenlit for 2 more seasons, and I am over the moon happy about that. That being said, though, the show's not perfect. There's a few things we do need to talk about, starting with some mixed aspects, which is, first and foremost, the character design. And no, it's not because of sexist reasons like gender flips, or racist reasons like skin color. Like, I'm not that shallow and I'm not that petty. It's more so how they rendered in the 3D CGI. Some like Peter, Lonnie, Nico, Daredevil, and especially Doc Ock look incredible in this style and in this animation. While others like Aunt May, Norman, Strange, and Bulldozer look a little bit off. It's because it's like stylized 3D CGI, so it's not always going to render right, but it's a very minor thing, and it's not a huge problem. It's not too distracting, but paired with the bright colors, you can notice it. And as for the cons, they're mainly just nitpicks, but there is a few. Beginning is really slow. It does start out pretty slow, and it does take a while for the first episode to actually get to Spidey. Episode 10 is more of a glorified epilogue, since the penultimate episode 9 pretty much wraps everything else up. Roger Craig Smith being multiple characters in one show, as impressive as it is more than a little bit confusing, and a few of its modern teenager elements are a bit cringy, like you have Harry Osborn as a social media influencer, but I will give it this, it's not as cringe as I've seen it in some other shows and projects, so. It is cringe, but it's not to the point of, like, I want to turn this show off cringe. It's not Acolyte. Conclusion. While it's not a straight-A student like its elder peers, it still aces the tests that matter most. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a fun, refreshing, unique, action-packed, and highly enjoyable new animated adventure for New York City's signature web-slinger. Sure, it's by no means perfect, and it isn't as great as Spectacular or TAS, but it's still more than amazing in its own right and certainly doesn't deserve to be labeled as a menace. I understand if you're apprehensive about it, but trust me when I say that it is more than worth checking out, especially if you are a huge Spider-Man fan. If you're a huge Spider-Man fan, you are going to really dig this show and what it does. It's a certified home run for Disney and a damn good modern cartoon. Highly recommended. I'm so happy it's been greenlit for 2 more seasons because a show this good absolutely deserves to tell more stories. Super excited to see where it goes next, especially with Spider-Gwen to be confirmed along for the ride. And her design is amazing. Like, I love her new design so much. But that's another topic for another day. Let's get to the final verdict. My final verdict for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1, high, strong, well-deserved, 9 out of 10. If it weren't for the slow beginning and some cringy elements here and there, I could definitely give it a 10. It has that potential. But regardless, this is a fantastic new Spider-Man show that I can definitely see becoming a cult classic in the near future. A lot of people are talking about it. It's getting a lot of well-deserved praise. And I am so happy to have another great Spidey cartoon to put alongside the other greats that came before it. Fantastic, phenomenal, outstanding show. Absolutely love it. And I can't wait to see where it goes next. Congrats, Disney. You continue to prove that you're actually good at handling Spider-Man. You just need to handle the rest of your Marvel Universe correctly, and then you'll be set. But that's it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. Tell me your thoughts on this show in the comments down below. Do not leave any spoilers, please. I want to keep it spoiler-free so the people that watch this review that check out the show after aren't spoiled. So please, no spoilers in my comment section. But also, feel free to let me know if you'd also like to hear me talk about those other Spider-Man shows, like Ultimate, Spectacular, TAS, Unlimited, even that cheesy, goofy 60s show. Like, if you want me to talk about it, I'll find somewhere to talk about it. But for now, that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Take care, webheads.
Listen, I will soon forget. So listen and you won't regret. Be true to yourself, don't miss your chance, and you won't end up like the fool who ripped his pants.